This book, Never Split the Difference, is maybe one of the best business books I've ever read. It's about negotiation, written by Chris Voss, who used to be an FBI negotiator. So he negotiated with terrorists and killers for a living, and he put all of that knowledge into this book. And today I'm going to share with you the 10 different techniques and tips that he shares from inside this huge book here. And so you don't have to read the whole thing. All you need to do is watch this video. Some of the things that I have learned inside this book have made me so much money. Because if you think about it, negotiation is everywhere. It's not just buying a new thing. It's often arguing with your partner about choosing, Chinese, Mexican food, buying a new car, negotiating your salary, or if you're a business owner, negotiating a contract, or even on a sales call. A lot of the time you will get some pushback, and negotiation is just part of business. And a common mistake that people often make is they think that compromise is fair. So the reason that this is called Never Split the Difference is that, let's say you want to sell a car for $1,000 and the person wants to buy it for $500. So you go, let's meet in the middle at $750 and call it quits. But what you've just done is made a deal that satisfies neither side and ignores the real problem. And so this idea of splitting the difference is lazy logic. It feels safe, but it's emotional surrender, and it means both sides lose something important just to feel done. Hence, never split the difference. And so this book teaches you how to do that. And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to reveal a one-line hack that you can say that completely demolishes all objections. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to break down the top 10 principles and make you impossible to say no to. So think about it like if you want to mind control people and you want to always get what you want, ethically, this is how you do it. So old school negotiation is based on people are rational, but really people are not rational. And I think if you talk to enough terrorists, you realize that people are irrational and emotional thinkers. And also, if you've ever been in a relationship, usually there's a lot of emotions that get thrown around and not a ton of logic. And so people buy with emotion, justify with logic. I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times. And great negotiators use tactical empathy and emotional control like an FBI negotiator. And again, this book is written by an FBI negotiator. So the first thing that you need to do is to slow down your voice, speak calm and steady, and ask curiosity-based questions. So you ask questions that make the prospect reveal what matters most. So how can I make this worth your time? What makes this feel risky to you? Number 2 is to be a mirror. And so this is one of the most powerful things that you can do, where mirroring instantly builds connection and makes people feel understood and trust you. And it's so easy to do. All you have to do is just repeat the last 1 to 3 important words that they say and then pause with a question inflection. And you use this, Chris, who's the writer of this, he calls it your late night FM DJ voice. Calm, slow voice to make others feel comfortable. Smooth, right? So an example of that is somebody's going, honestly, if we could just get 10 to 15 qualified leads a month from cold email, that would change everything. That would change everything? Yeah, so we would be able to so all you've done is just keep encouraging them to open up and peel back the layers of the onion. And so these are all so simple, but nobody does them. So if you just start implementing 1 or 2 of these in your calls, in your Zoom calls, in your meetings, it'll be an absolute game changer. This is something that I use all the time as well. And I'll get to the one phrase right towards the end, but people want to be understood, not pitied. And so when you label emotions, when you label a positive emotion, it enhances it. And when you label a negative emotion, it decreases the impact of it. So he calls it doing an accusation audit by naming their possible negative thoughts up front, as well as some positive ones. But obviously you're trying to diffuse problems a lot of the time. So labeling that is more important. You probably think I'm another salesperson trying to close you, but so calling out the elephant in the room is huge. And then naming feelings reduces their intensity and builds trust. So I don't think this would work for me. I worked with an agency and didn't see any results. And so it sounds like you were burned by an agency before. You haven't said anything new. All you've done is just labeled what he's told you, and so like it sounds like you have a hard time trusting because you were burned by an agency before. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and then this is a big one, and I never ask a series of yes questions. If you look at the Zig Ziglar style of selling, which was, back in the days, 80 odd years ago or something, I guess at this point, it's all like trick them into saying yes and then finally slip your offer in and they'll say yes to that. But it doesn't work because people are aware of what's going on, and yes puts them in a state of discomfort. When you get them to say no, people feel relief. And so when they feel safe and they're in control, and it opens the door to a real dialogue. When people say yes, it's usually just kind of a smoke screen. So like, do you want to grow your business, Jordan? Let me ask you a question, Jordan. Do you want to grow your business? What kind of a ridiculous question of that is that? Of course I want to grow my business. Of course the answer is yes. But because you're forcing me into yes, it makes me feel uncomfortable, like a sale is coming. Do you want more? So I hear you saying that you want to grow your business. Does that mean that you want more leads? Like, yes, of course I want more leads. What kind of a ridiculous question is that, right? So a way around that is to literally just flip it. And so when I call people now, I don't say, hey, John, is now a good time to talk? Because I'm like, if I say yes, I'm being trapped into how long am I going to be on the phone? What is he trying to sell me? And so you go, hey, is now a bad time to talk? Well, no, it's not a bad time. Okay, perfect, right? And then you go in there. And when I transition people from a first call to a discovery or a sales call, look, would you be totally against it if we had another call where I walk you through what that looks like? Would it be a ridiculous idea if we talked about that maybe on another call? And of course it wouldn't be a ridiculous idea. Who wants to be the idiot who's like, yeah, that's ridiculous? And instead of saying, when you ask for the sale, would you like to move forward? Would it be a bad idea to explore this further? Is there anything stopping you moving forwards, John? No. Okay, let's go. And then, so this is another big one here. You don't want to trigger the words "you're right." You want to trigger the words "that's right." And so, when you have an argument with somebody, and you like, think about the last time you had an argument with your mom or your dad or something, and you went backwards and forwards for hours, or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, and then they get absolutely fed up and they just want you to be quiet and shut up and stop. They say, you know what? You're right. You're right. That sentence and that tone means that the argument is over. You've lost, they've lost, and there is going to be no resolution. What you're trying to get from the other person is them to go, that's right. That's exactly how I feel. So you're looking for the words, that's right. Because it's emotional alignment instead of this fake agreement. So your goal is never to get to yes, it's to get to that's right. So it sounds like you're handling leads manually, it's eating time, and you need a system that works while you sleep. Yeah, that's right. They'll never say, you're right. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Again, remember that this is tested against thousands of different hostage situations, terrorism, crazy stuff, right? And so when people are at their absolute peak hysteria and emotion, as well as all of the things that he learned by taking all of these principles and applying it into business later, because he realized that they're basically the same thing. When you're negotiating with a terrorist, it's the same when you're negotiating with a CEO. They want something that you don't want to give them and vice versa, and they want to get the best deal. And so that's why he wrote this book. And so if you haven't picked it up, I'll tell you what, I'll leave an Amazon link that is not an affiliate link down below so you can go and get it. Number 6 is to bend their reality. So people decide based on perceived loss, not gain. So when people are making a decision to work with me, for example, they'll be thinking, I'll lose $5,000 if this doesn't work out, as opposed to I'll make $30,000 if this does work out. And so you need to address that. People want deals that feel, feel fair, but not necessarily logical. So using the word fair, maybe you can't understand it with my accent, but I'm saying F-A-I-R, fair, to calm emotion. I just want this to feel fair for you, right? So Chris Voss teaches, frame the decision with potential loss. So I've just had a client come back to me and say, hey, we can't move forwards until maybe next month. And I'm going to go to them and say, I understand. Listen, if we delay, we might lose another $20,000 in missed leads, or, whatever their specific situation is. So something that you can also do to make it more specific and real is to use odd sounding numbers. So instead of saying you might lose another, so by my calculations, you're looking to lose $20,000, generic. By my calculations, looking like the things that you said and the stuff that you were telling me, John, it sounds like we're going to be losing $25,750 by not taking action today. It just makes it sound more real. And then number 7 is to create the illusion of control. The most persuasive negotiators guide others by letting them think that they are leading. And this is one of the laws of the 48 laws of power. It's like never outshine the master. So calibrated questions give control while keeping you in charge. So asking how or what questions to guide them. Never ask why questions, because it triggers defensiveness. And so the statement that I was talking about is the next one here. So yeah, never use why, it triggers defensiveness. Number 8 is to guarantee execution. So yes means nothing without how. So confirm understanding with how will this work in practice, and get small verbal commitments that turn into real actions. And so ask how to turn words into plans. So how will we know when we're moving in the right direction, John? Like, who else is going to be involved in this decision? And you do that by asking how. And the phrase that you can use that will change the way that you do business is, when somebody tells you something and you want to say no, you say to them, how am I supposed to do that? And it sounds ridiculous and it's so weird to say. But let's say you're on a call and you present the price, and let's say it's $5,000 per month. And they go, ooh, I don't know about $5,000 per month. Like, can you do $4,000? And you say, how am I supposed to do that? And then what you do is it catches them off guard, and then it asks them to solve the problem for you. And so what they will do is they'll go through their mind, and they'll try and solve the problem for you. And most of the time, they'll come to the conclusion that they can't solve it, and then they'll just accept the offer. And it sounds crazy, but I have used it in many conversations where I present price and then there's pushback on price, and I just say, how am I supposed to do that? And they just don't, I'm just telling you, the cogs turn, and all of this, they've never been asked this question. Okay, and then so again, another way that you can use how is before leaving a call, confirm next steps with how should we move forwards from here. Number 9 is the bargain hard. This is the Ackerman model. So use a structured process instead of random discounts. So if you're buying something, you set your target price and then you offer 65% of it. So let's say the price is $1,000. You come in and you go, okay, I'll give you $650, and you anchor down really low. And then they say, no, it's $1,000, and they come in the back and they'll say, oh, I could do 900. And you go, okay, well, what about 850? Right? And so you finish, if you have to finish at 100%, if they're firm on the price, then you say, okay, look, this is when we do this. What about $1,000, and then throw in this free thing here, like a free audit or something, and you just do the inverse when you're selling. So open at 150% and then move down 100% slowly. And as a as a side note, FBI ransom negotiators used very specific odd numbers instead of rounding things to $50,000 because it sounds more credible. And then finally, this is maybe the most important thing, and the thing that I have found on every sales call where I dive deep with a founder is that you're looking to find the black swan. So Chris Voss's company, the guy who wrote this book, is called the Black Swan. And the reason is he's like, every single time you have a conversation with one of these CEOs, these business owners, or you're negotiating anything, there's always hidden motives. So the founder might hate agencies, or the CFO approves all expenses or something, and so there's like some weird hidden stuff, and they'll never tell you up front. And every deal hides 3 to 5 unknown pieces of information that can change anything. And usually you can find one thing and that unravels everything, and that's the black swan. So make sure you stay curious and listen for small cues that reveal big truths, and ask questions that invite sharing what else might affect this decision. So in closing, here is the summary. The core framework is negotiation is emotion management. It's not logic. It's tactical empathy that creates the trust. Curiosity controls direction. Silence creates power. Clarity ensures results. And the process is to mirror, to open them up, label, to calm an emotion, invite them to say no, to get to the truth. Try to earn the words, that's right, as opposed to you're right. Use calibrated questions and then frame with fairness and loss, and then confirm how before closing, and use how if you have objections to put those objections to rest and put the problem into their lap for them to solve for you. So if you want me and my team to do all this for you, then I have left a link down below to apply to work with me. You can go to dopaminedigital.io and see all the stuff that we do. And if you want a free growth plan where I'll break down your business model and how you can grow, delivered to your inbox within 72 hours without a sales call, as long as you meet the criteria and you're one of the first 5 to do it, because I can only do a handful of these a week. These destroy my time because they're so in-depth. Then I invite you to click the link down below and go through this form, fill it out, give me all your business details, and I will audit the living heck out of it, and I will apply a decade of marketing experience to show you how we can grow your business over the next 12 months and give you that plan 100% for free. And I have charged $500 for this in the past, so it's a fantastic deal. Other than that, watch this video next. I think you're going to love it. Click that. Click it.